The question I had is on romantic relationships and my vibration around that. They've all been really short, like 3-week to maybe 3-month relationships, and I feel like I've gotten a lot out of them, and I feel like I'm moving to the right place, but I don't know, I feel like there's this resistance or something else that's keeping me back.
Well, we can tell you what it is. You're really not wanting to fall in love with anyone because they're flaky. In other words, what we mean by that is you can't count on others being joyful. You can really. We're reflecting in words what we can feel in your vibration. In other words, when you let yourself really care about someone, then you feel like you put yourself in a vulnerable place because you can't control the way you feel when you care about someone who does not seem to have control of their own experience. And so tell us the last relationship. How long was it?
It was about 4 weeks, and it ended just a few days before Valentine's Day. And but it was really good. I mean, he was very open and caring.
What was the reason that it ended?
He said he met someone else that he felt more comfortable with, and I felt like that he was feeling more for me than he wanted to so soon, and he got scared. And I asked him that, and he said he didn't know, that he just couldn't explain it. And,
The reason that we're probing a little bit there is because what we feel in the vibration is something that could play out in that way, but we would describe it a little bit differently. When you're really ready, when you're offering a vibrational signal that says, I know what I want and I'm ready for what I want and I'm in alignment with what I want, then the universe just delivers what you want, and you say, oh yeah, this is it. And he says, oh yeah, this is it. And that's the end of the discussion. In other words, that's it. But when you're offering a vibration that says, I know what I want, but I'm afraid to let myself have what I want, or I've never been able to get what I want, or even more importantly, if I let myself really want, then I might be setting myself up for greater discomfort if something happens. So your vibration says, I want you, I don't want you. I want you, I don't want you. I want you, I don't want you. I want you, but I'm afraid of you. I want you, but I'm afraid you won't stay. That's what your vibration says. So guess who comes?
Yeah.
So that's why you say, I think he was feeling more than he will admit to, because a part of him was matching up with that pure part of your vibration. But that other part of him came in response to that other part of your vibration too, you see. So you got to clean up your vibration.
Yeah, so how do I get to the point of doing that?
Well, you hear the very poignant words that we offered earlier. The distance that you are traveling from Phoenix to San Diego, in this example, feels like I'm traveling from not having a partner to having a partner. Feels like I'm traveling from living alone to having someone to live with. But you're not. It is an emotional distance. I'm traveling from loneliness to a sense of fulfillment. I'm traveling from a feeling of loneliness to a feeling of security. It is the feeling that is the distance. You're wanting to move the feeling distance. So you offer words that soothe that. So just ramble a little bit. Talk to us about the subject of relationships, and we will indicate with our emotional set point meter which way you're going. Does it feel pessimistic, hopeful, or pessimistic, impossible?
Pessimistic, hopeful.
Yeah, it's right there. So now, you want it, you don't think it's coming. You hope it comes, you don't think it's coming. You'd like to be Pollyanna, but you've had too much experience.
Exactly.
So now you know where your set point is. So now your work is not to find a partner. Your work is to move the emotion. You're reaching for less pessimistic. So the words that you offer and the conversation that you offer is all about moving energy in you and changing that emotion in your solar plexus. So now just ramble and we'll all feel which way you're going. In other words, are you closing the gap between Yuma and San Diego, or are you on your way back to Phoenix? We'll be able to feel, and so will you. So just ramble the kinds of things that you usually say. Don't try to say what you think we want to hear. Just talk about relationships in the way you usually have self-dialogue or talk with someone else, and let's feel what happens.
Okay. Well, after the last relationship, I was like, oh, I did it again. I was wrong. I made a mistake.
All right, so now you can feel which way we're going. So put your brakes on, and when possible, make a legal U-turn. And try to say something that clearly takes you the other way. In other words, you can't make too big of a jump, but just try to be more optimistic or a little less pessimistic.
Yeah, well, he was more honest than the last partners I've had. It was a more tender experience than anything I'd experienced. It was, I was the most open I'd ever been.
Go slowly and think, now, what's this doing? In other words, as you talk about that, what's that doing to your emotion? Does it make you miss him? Does it make you long for him? Did those words make you feel better or worse?
Made me feel worse.
It did, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, spit them out and try to find something that makes you feel a little better.
Yeah. I want him to change his mind. I want him to stay. I want him to want me. I want to be wanted for me and no one else.
That doesn't feel any better, does it?
Mm-mm.
So keep talking.
I'm just tired of being angry about it.
Yeah, we're on the way back to Phoenix, yes.
Yeah.
It's all right. Just keep reaching. You're just reaching for some relief. That's what you're reaching for. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to explain it so much as you're just trying to find a way to give yourself some relief.
And it's okay to feel bad. So what if it only lasted a month? I can still be sad and angry about it. And it's okay. Just to be where I am.
That does feel better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So sort of an acceptance somewhere. Mm-hmm. Keep talking.
Yeah, and I'm frustrated that that's where I'm always going to be, that I'm not going to get to where I want to go next.
All right, now let's talk about this. Where's frustration on this realm of pessimism? Better or worse? Frustration, pessimism, well, they're pretty close vibrations.
Yeah, very close.
So you didn't hurt yourself much and you didn't gain much. So ramble there and let's see if we can get any good out of this frustration.
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm just stuck in this groove, that I'm just driving the car in the same rut, basically. That's what it feels like. That I'm not going forward or backwards, like I'm just starting and stopping.
Well, she is taking a little more control in those statements. She doesn't feel so much like a victim. We think that those statements are feeling a little bit better, but not very much. So keep rambling. You're reaching for something that gives you a feeling of relief.
Yeah. And this is where I get stuck. Like, I don't know what the next thought is.
Well, it's because you think that the next thought is about what to do, when really the next thought is just about soothing you. In other words, I don't have to get it all at once. There should be some joy in the journey. I'm going to love bringing myself into the position of being adored. I think I'll practice being adored before I attract someone to adore me. I think I'll practice the feeling of being adored, and I think I'll practice the feeling of adoring someone. I'm just going to practice that feeling. I'm going to look for evidence of it out there. Oh, I can tell they adore each other. Oh, they adore each other. I like that feeling. I'm going to practice that feeling of adoring each other, you see.
Yes.
That's really what you're wanting to do. You're a little bit afraid of adoring from past experience. And so that's sort of what's stuck. But you can feel that that's what's necessary, can't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Have fun with it. Be easy about it. And in the meantime, be playful about it. In other words, the next one that comes, say, well, I want you to know that I'm looking for a life partner, but don't worry, I've already figured out you're not it. So let's just have fun. I'm looking for the love of my life, and you're close, but you're really not it. So don't worry. I'm not going to hook you in and make you stay. But meanwhile, want to have some fun? In other words, and then say, pardon me, but I'm looking for a perfect relationship, and you have quite a few of the qualities I'm looking for, but there are a lot missing. Do you mind if I just mine you a little bit for data for a little while? And then I'll be done with you soon enough, and we can go our separate ways. But meanwhile, I will have in other words, that's what's happening. No one wants to admit it. No one wants to admit that I'm just filling time with you while I get more and more clear about what I'm doing. But really, that's what everybody is doing, you see. Yeah. And so don't feel bad about it, but have fun with it.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, indeed.
You talk about really paying attention to the emotional range. What do you think about someone that makes a statement like, becoming the master of your own mind, or becoming the master of, your emotions. In Buddhism, they teach that. So what is your thoughts on that?
It sounds like deliberate creation to us.
Okay.
And we prefer the phrase, if we have to choose one of them, master of emotions over master of mind, because your emotions will guide you to the vibrational stance that will allow the well-being. In other words, you can't stop using your mind. There's too much stimulation and you have too many facilities within you that cause you to focus. But until you use the way you feel to guide your mind, you do not become a master. So we think those two statements can be powerfully and perfectly integrated. I become the master of my mind by becoming the master of my emotions. And we're here saying follow your bliss, which would be an ultimate master of emotion, would be one who has learned to follow bliss. But the thing that we're wanting to point out here, and so many of you help us point it out, is that when you are in agony, you don't have access to thoughts that have the vibration of bliss. You just can't make that jump. It's too big of a quantum leap, any more than you can set your radio tuner on one station and hear what's being broadcast on another. You have to be in the vibrational range in order to pick it up. So that's why we're encouraging that you just reach for something a little better than where you are. And can you feel the power of that? If that's your mantra, I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to make the best of it no matter where you're standing. If you make the best of it, you're going to be in a little better place. And if you make the best of it, you're going to be in a little better place. And if you make the best of it, you're going to be in a little better place. And understanding that, then you know there's no place that you cannot go. So when you say, I'm going to follow my bliss, you might say more realistically, I'm going to follow my bliss, but before I do that, I'm going to follow the trail of hate. Because hate feels so much better than that disempowered depression and despair that I was in when I was feeling totally unworthy and incapable and unnecessary. And then once I've found the trail of hate, then I'm going to reach really hard for the trail of anger, the life-giving trail of anger. I'm going to follow my anger. And then I'm going to follow my overwhelmment. But of course, you're not wanting to be in overwhelmment and then follow the trail of hate. That's going the wrong direction. In other words, so rather than saying follow my bliss, we're saying reach for the best feeling thought I can find and keep reaching until I can ascertain that I have found some particle of relief. Because when you consciously acknowledge that you have found a particle of relief, now you have rediscovered your power. So next time someone says, I don't like your anger, just say, too bad I do. It felt so much better than the disempowerment that I felt right before I discovered this life-giving anger.
I like that.
And then you might say, eventually I will follow my bliss, but for now anger is the best I can do. And mean that. And feel all right about it. In other words, you've got to give yourself permission to be where you are. And we think that the reason that so many people have something eating at them until it really begins to eat at them and they croak from something eating at them, if they could stop and say, here's where I am, and like it or lump it, here's where I am. This is how I feel. And it doesn't have anything to do with you or you or you or you or you. And my keeping your rules isn't going to change the way I feel. Finally, I'm in touch with my own guidance system. Finally, I'm doing the only thing that anybody can ever do, which is measure and pay attention to and mold the range of emotions between where I am usually beating the drum, where my set point is, and where I really want to be. Mm-hmm. And once you get hold of this, you'll go from someone who is usually pretty ornery to somebody who's usually more hopeful to somebody who's usually feeling pretty good to someone who's usually optimistic. And once you get into that optimistic range, friends, the world is your oyster. Once people around you, but more importantly you yourself, are describing yourself as optimistic, there's no place you can't go. If someone says, how do you feel? And you say, well, my emotions vary, but usually I feel happy. Usually I feel excited. Usually I feel content. Usually I feel hopeful. Often I feel eager. Often I feel appreciation. Do you hear what that means? That means you're just mostly in a place of non-resistant. And so as people look at you, they see that you're clear-minded. They see that you feel good. They see that you have energy. They see that doors are opening for you. They see that you appear to have ease in your life. They see that you're tasting all of the good things. And those who don't understand might be jealous. They might call it nepotism. They might call it unfairness. but they don't understand that you have found a way of training your own mind into vibrational patterns that are so free of resistance that well-being is pouring into your experience on all fronts, you see.